I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Oops the Podcast. I'm Julio, sitting here with my pal Francis. How you doing, Francis?
I'm wearing another waffle.
Yeah, you sure are.
You know, if you were to put your hand against my waffle, you would say, oh, that's not flat.
That is waffle.
You know what I'm saying? Because remember the last time I wore a waffle,
Yep.
you said, what's the story with that?
Right. I do remember
What does
that.
waffle mean? And I said, it's not flat. It's sort of a ribbed,
Yeah.
raised,
Checkered.
striated pattern texture.
It is nice, though.
Yeah, I don't know what is this color? What would you call this color?
Teal?
Teal? Really?
I did.
Teal to me is a little darker.
Maybe. What would it be? Marble?
I don't know.
I
No.
have no idea, dude.
Ryan, any idea what color this shirt is?
Aqua?
Yeah, aqua sounds.
Aqua.
Aqua's closer. Yeah, nice. Okay.
And we are joined today by all of you.
Yeah, right.
Welcome.
Sometimes I forget that people are listening. But I remember when we get the very occasional sort of scolding email, which we did receive one recently, and we try to take all of our emails in kind, and I don't think that's the right way to say that.
If they're marginally reasonable, we will always engage.
And we're lucky in that in most of the angry emails we get are pretty reasonable,
Yeah.
and this was no exception. A young lady, a listener, wrote an email remarking on a comment that I had made a number of episodes ago, a long time ago, around the Winter Olympics, where we were talking about Eileen Gu, the snowboarder, skier. Freestyle skier, I'm pretty sure, who had chosen to ski and compete for China as opposed to America, even though she had, I think, dual citizenship. And I said I felt like she had gone to ski for the enemy. And what I did not know when I made that somewhat ignorant comment was that, she grew up half her life in China and had very strong roots there. For some reason, I just thought she had dual passports.
To her, yeah, her mother was Chinese, who she was very close to, lived there for however much of her life. She's much more tied to
Correct.
China.
I thought it was just like, I know people that have dual citizenship, but it's almost ornamental. It's like they had you through some technicality, you managed to have two passports. I thought somehow she had done that, and that maybe somehow, I don't even know why I thought her decision was opportunistic in some way. I made a lot of pretty bad assumptions, and for that, I apologize. And I was very glad to be sort of slapped gently on the wrist by this email,
Yes.
and corrected in a teaching way. We've said this before. It's no problem if you have an issue with something we've said, but if you can tell us why we were wrong and help us learn, as opposed to just telling us to go,
Fuck ourselves.
kill ourselves or something like that, it's much
It's
easier
definitely much more productive.
to receive that information and change our way of thinking, my way of thinking, and which I have done. And I have become, again, a fan of Eileen Gu, and I wish her well in all of her skiing exploits for the People's Republic of China.
Yeah, and she made the comment that she was kind of Chinese, I think, and Australian, and how she's kind of like dealt with a bunch of racial bias. It kind of hit home in a certain way, so happy to address it.
Yep. Having said that, Eileen, you are no longer welcome on the American team. That's a one-way street. I wish you well in China, but
peekaboo street.
You're never coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope that's okay to say. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I don't know if she's allowed to. I feel like once you choose an Olympic country, you've cast your, right? Isn't that true? You can't come back.
I have no idea.
I don't think you can switch countries around.
You can do it in professional tennis.
Can you now?
Yeah, but I don't know about, because I remember Mary Pierce competed for America, and then she changed to Canada, I think.
But that's also because there aren't that many international world, country-based competitions in tennis.
Yeah, they're all kind of just like
The Davis Cup,
wandering mercenaries.
right?
I feel so. This brings up a good point. So Wimbledon has banned Russian tennis
This
players
is interesting.
as of
yeah.
today from competing, and it really brings up a rich discussion.
And it matters too because Medvedev is one of the best players in the world.
Dude, there's
And
3 or 4 guys in the top 25 who are Russian.
Yeah.
Rublev, and these guys like Medvedev, I think he spent a lot of time in France. He speaks French. Like Rublev and Kachanov, they train in Spain. Like these guys are just like not that Russian. And it is a bummer. But then somebody made some point. There's all these like really good points being made about it. And every time I hear one of them, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It just which just makes for a good discussion. I want me to read you one of them.
Yeah.
So I've talked about this with a couple people because people just like love to talk to me about tennis.
Yeah. Well, here's a
As they
question.
should.
Here's a question that I would have. If Medvedev right now came out and denounced the war in Russia and denounced Putin and said, I do not stand with this at all, would he still be banned from Wimbledon?
I think so, yeah.
But that's bullshit because that's not his fault at all.
So I do totally. And quite
understand-
frankly, these guys, I think most of those guys live in Monte Carlo. Like I don't even think it matters.
I could see banning someone if they were Russian and they said,
They took steroids.
yeah, or they said, I stand with Putin. Ukraine is filled with neo-Nazis, blah, blah, blah,
right.
fake news.
Okay, so this is the comment that somebody sent me. It's a quote from something. It cannot be a sanction against 90% of the Russian people and 10% not. If you think about it, why is somebody who works in McDonald's in Russia losing their job because of sanctions and the tennis players are the exceptions?
Oh, yeah.
It has to be even, and I think it's collective guilt, which is like, it doesn't change the point. I'm not saying I like agree with that, but it brings up an interesting point. It's like in order for, and I wonder if this is what this means or not, but it's like sanctions, suck for the government, but then they suck for the people too. And is it like by creating a shitty situation for the people, does that end up helping you get your objective across?
100%.
Is that what the point of that is?
100%.
Right.
Because you're fomenting,
Dissidents?
dissidents
Disdain,
in the country. It starts in the lower ranks. This is what leads to protests. This is what creates upward pressure by making life challenging. Unfortunately, war is it affects every socioeconomic tier, all that, and you need to cause. One way to fight a war, to fight an enemy, is to make its people unhappy with the decisions being made by the leadership.
Totally.
And that was sort of happening. I have no idea if it's still happening. Russia's famous for cracking down pretty harshly on people who protest, but that's it's the people that work at McDonald's who are going to speak out against it and go to the streets and make it harder for Putin to continue to just wage this ridiculous war. So, and
thus by extending the ban against the tennis players.
Yeah.
But now here's another good other side of the.
Okay.
So John Millman, an Australian tennis player, a lot of important and controversial Aussies in our episode so far. But he goes, when I qualified for Wimbledon for the first time, I asked for 2 extra ground passes so family could watch. I was told to line up in the queue, which I don't necessarily know why that matters here. But then he goes, money means everything here. If you're going to ban athletes, then also give all your profits in aid. Then we know you're serious.
Hang on. You're saying that if Wimbledon is going to ban Russian athletes as a show of solidarity against Putin's war, then they should also donate money and aid to the Ukraine force.
That's the point, I think.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't know. Like, do you think...
I don't think it's inconsistent for them to ban Russian athletes but not give aid. I don't think that's...
Right, I agreed, actually.
Them, not doing enough. I don't think one begets the other.
Wimbledon's been making a ton of like groundbreaking choices and stuff. It's amazing. Like, remember when they canceled Wimbledon because of the pandemic and had pandemic insurance? Because the only people who have pandemic insurance are things that have been around since the Spanish flu.
Is that right?
Like, yeah, like why else would you have it?
I didn't know about that.
You have to have survived. Yeah. So Wimbledon collected this like 180, can you look up the number? $800 million settlement or something because they had pandemic insurance. They canceled Wimbledon, collected all the money.
Wow.
So I don't know. They've been like making a bunch of headlines.
Was it not also the first? This could be totally wrong, but it wasn't. Was it not also the first tennis major that equaled the prize money for the woman?
I believe
winner?
the U.S. Open was the first.
Oh,
one
was
that
it?
did that.
Because
Yeah.
it was Venus, right?
I believe it was
I'm
the
pretty
US
sure it was
Open.
Venus.
What do you
Okay,
got, Ryan?
that's interesting.
Wimbledon received $141 million.
I
an
full
insurance payout.
5x that total. But my original guess I think was 160, but then I upped it by a lot for some reason.
It's more fun if it's 800.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. We should just not had him look that up.
So, dude, I don't know. Like, of course, I think it's unfair. Like, these players have nothing to do with it. But the point about the collective guilt thing is an interesting one. You know what I mean? But I really hate that these like Eastern European athletes just kind of like get the short end of the stick because of things they have no control over all the time. Sort of that like Drago complex that we want to make all these Eastern European people villains.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not fair to the guy who has nothing to do with it. But I guess it just is what it is. I don't know.
Right. Well, you know, okay, let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
TV shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Movies. We have villains in our movies,
Yeah.
and it so often is a
Always,
Russian.
dude. Or even in Bond, they'll just like, because we don't, like Americans just aren't like that good at geography. It just makes sense. I mean, we're isolated. We don't need to know more about
Right.
it. But they'll be like, he's from Estonia.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know.
But if you go back to right after 9/11, I remember that a lot of the villains became Arab.
Yeah, totally.
And it certainly seems that world events dictate who we cast as our enemy.
Yeah.
In Hollywood. And it's been Russia for so long.
Dude.
It's been Russia for so long in so many movies, right? The Russians, you can just hear the accent. You can hear the bad guy. Who would be a fun villain?
Just thinking,
Like who's new and different? Where if you saw a movie and you were like, "That dude, really?"
a Santa Monica surfer,
Yeah,
dude.
like a Jamaican bad guy, you know.
Very funny, Mr. Bond.
It's time to die, bro.
It's ridiculous.
That would be really good.
That would be great, dude.
Yeah, or a Canadian, or
Yeah,
even like
exactly.
a Midwesterner, like a
Right.
fucking bad guy from Wisconsin.
Right. With a kind of like a goofy accent.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna die, Mr. Bond. oh yeah.
Looks like you met your match.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, literally.
Yeah.
That's great. Dude.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That'd be fun. Be fun to see some bad guys from, fucking. It's crazy. Like Sweden, I guess. Although that's not too far. You could see a Swede being like cold.
Yeah, there's the whole like, and even though he's German, but like Christoph Waltz kind of fits that like quirky Northern European villain thing. Well, I know it's not Scandinavian, but
Yes, but Christoph Waltz,
he's so good. Dude.
if he hadn't done Inglourious Bastards, you might not have been able to picture him as a villain.
Yeah, but dude, what about Bond? He's a villain in
Forgot about that.
Skyfall. He's
Yeah.
he's a villain in a lot of shit.
Yeah, you're right.
But he's so good in Glorious Bastards.
It's crazy.
So
it's crazy.
fucking good.
Very good. Very good.
Very
Everyone's
good.
talking about this show Severance. I haven't started
Same.
it
I
yet.
heard it's amazing.
Have you started
Ryan
it?
tried to put us onto it. I think
Ryan's
Such
excited.
a great show. Ben
It's
Stiller
amazing,
directed
huh?
it.
Yeah.
I finished it last week. You just started?
No, we have not. We're going.
Ooh.
It's so fun to know that there's a show that elicits this type of reaction out of people.
No one's talking about it. It's
On
going to
the
be like
burner for us.
Euphoria, where it's kind of under the radar
Slow
until the
build.
second season comes out.
The second season is when every show breaks.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Have
You'll
you?
like it.
Sorry. Tokyo Vice. Did you finish it?
Well, we've watched all the available episodes.
Okay. I haven't started that. We're like working our way through what's the Jason Bateman show? Ozark. Dude, but like Every night we'll be 19 seconds into it, and like Hillary will see a kid holding a gun. She's like, I can't watch this.
Really?
So we're like watching 19 seconds a day of Ozark.
So she just taps out?
Dude, this is what we've started watching instead, and it's the best show maybe I've ever seen. There's this show in Japan where you started watching this. They send toddlers to do errands on their own. That's what we've been watching, dude. It is so good. Dude, it's amazing. It's so
They
cute.
send them to like do work and shit, right?
So they'll like send them to buy like octopus tentacles for like the meal at dinner, and like a quail egg and like nail polish remover or something. And they go and they have like a little flag to cross the street so the cars don't hit them. And they have like a little change purse and they get a receipt. And dude, it's the cutest.
Do the kids not know that they're on camera?
No, I think they do, but like they kind of just don't.
It doesn't matter.
The camera guy tries to be silent, but they'll break the fourth wall, and then there'll be some like funny moment with that. Or they'll have to like pick a pumpkin out of the garden, but they're too weak to break the root. So they're like they finally figure out that if they like walk around in circles, and they'll like do it for 3.5 hours. And they're just determined.
I don't know that I would be able to watch this show for more than 2 minutes.
So the episodes are like 7 minutes. So I think you might actually.
All right. Okay.
And it's actually interesting because they're in all these places in Japan that I've never heard of. And it's really interesting to like, you remember that there's just so many places that have reputations for so many things that you've never heard of. It really excites me, obviously.
Well, the farther away a place is, the fewer pieces of it you know.
Totally.
You know?
Totally.
It's called Old Enough.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing.
I've seen a clip from this. I saw this kid drop a bucket that had fish in it. And, you know, I don't like that goofy laugh track they have.
Dude, it's the content is so rich that it doesn't matter.
All right,
and it's
fair
pretty
enough.
subtle. It's worth, I mean, they're literally 7-minute episodes. It's preposterous, dude, how funny this show is. Another thing that might be true, as far as the farther things are away, the fewer direct flights there are there also dictate, like, because I'm thinking of certain places where like you can't get to easily, and I have no idea about them.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right.
Well, dude, so we had a couple things that we promised we were going to talk about. So we'll get into it. Francis hits me up. And actually, this happened all in sort of like, it was like a blur. So Francis was talking to Andrew Schultz, and he sent you the flyer for his after party. And he's like, tell Julio to come. And you sent me a screenshot of that. I was like, oh, that's so nice. Like the guy, dude.
Great
I'm
dude.
just consistently blown away by how fucking cool of a guy that was.
Yep.
Like if he started a cult, like I probably would join it.
Yeah. We'd do fine in it too. We'd be officers.
I am his loyal subject. Anyway, he's just the greatest. So you're like, yo, you should go to this. But somehow I like took that as, I remembered that you had tickets. I forgot. I don't know. I was just waking up, and you essentially were like, I can't make it. Do you want my tickets to shows?
Yeah, so I had bought tickets to see Andrew perform at Radio City, which is, I mean, if you're not familiar, it's Madison Square Garden, and then Radio City is the only thing below. The only thing above Radio City is Madison Square Garden in New York. 6,000 people capacity.
Crazy.
It's insane. Iconic venue. And he sold out 2 shows there. So clearly doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I had bought tickets a long time ago, kind of when he announced it. And they were expensive, undeservedly so. And alas, I could not go because I got booked for Moon Tower Comedy Festival. And so the tickets were just going to kind of go to waste because I couldn't like transfer them or sell them. And I asked you, do you want these tickets?
Yeah.
And then you immediately were like, yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
But then I had also said, I almost simultaneously I'd sent a text to Sierra saying, you know, you sure you don't want to go to Schultz with somebody? And she was like, I have no one to go with, was her response. At which point I thought, well, these two have a history of hanging out on Saturday nights when I'm not around. Maybe this will be right up their alley. And so then there was this very funny moment of confusion.
Yeah.
Where I said, would you want to go with Sierra?
Right.
But that's a difficult question from me because Julio had already said, I would love the tickets. I'd like to go, which may mean that he's got someone in mind that he wants to take.
Right.
And that the idea of being forced to going with Sierra is a different proposition from would you like these tickets?
It is. It is.
That's a different product that I'm selling.
It is.
And just because you agreed to take the tickets did not mean that you agreed to go with Sierra.
Right. And at this point, I can't actually say no.
Right, because
But,
you're available.
No, so I'm available, but now if I say no, it means that I would like to go, but I do not want to go with Sierra.
Yeah.
There's just no way for me to say no.
To further complicate it, I had then texted to Sierra, would you want to go with Julio? To which she immediately said, yes, exclamation point. So now if you back out, you're not only potentially, in your mind, maybe like insulting me by telling me you don't want to go with her, but we'd have to tell her he doesn't want to go with you.
So I knew that if there were a scenario where somehow I did not want to go with her, which was not the case. Okay. And there's actually a bunch of reasons as to why, even if I didn't want to go with her, I would have still gone, to be honest. But that doesn't matter yet. So I could talk to you and we know each other well enough, obviously, that I could be like, oh, I could make some excuse that wasn't offensive.
Of course.
But we had gone too far to turn back at this point. So I had to say yes at that point. Happy to, and I'm glad it was a convenient turnout because not turnout, just the way it ended up because it would sucked if it was shitty, but it was great. I mean, obviously we had a great time.
Did you have someone else in mind already the second I said to you, do you want these tickets? And you said yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask Hillary.
So I made you go with my girlfriend instead of yours. That is nuts.
It's funny. It's a very funny thing. But dude, so it came at the perfect time. I'm about to do a theater show, and it's really nice to watch live a person do a big theater.
Right.
And it's just it's a thing that I would have gone to alone.
I apologize, but I'm not quite done with the intricacy of this.
Please.
Did you tell Hillary?
Did I tell Hillary what?
Had you said to her yet, Francis has tickets for us tonight. Andrew Schultz,
yes.
do you want to go? So you had to tell her, I'm so sorry. I have to go with Sierra instead.
So this is the thing. I brought it up in sort of a discussion. I was not like, we will go. And I don't remember the specifics, but it was kind of up in the air. I was figuring out the details of how this would work. And if she would be willing to go or whatever. And it happened fast enough.
Did she say yes? Did she say yes? I want to go. I'm in.
I think she tentatively. I think she would have gone.
Mm-hmm.
We were supposed to hang out.
Oh my God!
but
you guys had plans to hang out together.
General plans to hang out together.
I thwarted.
No, you didn't.
Your plans.
I would have argued. I actually would have argued, and this might be a tough thing to argue, but this is a thing that I felt like I needed to do for my work to see that show.
I understand.
And I stand by that after having seen it. Mm-hmm. So we just met up after the show was over. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And whatever. So it's funny. It all happened fast enough, but it definitely lined up in a way that could have been weird, but was not.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
That's such a funny thing. And you say something important there, which is we know each other well enough that the situation would never have gotten sticky.
Never.
However, because it was happening via text message as opposed to a phone call or better yet, a FaceTime, even our friendship and understanding falls victim to the loss of context via text message.
Or tone.
And you still open yourself up to this, does he want to go with her? Or me thinking I'm asking him something difficult, putting him off his original plan, all of that. Whereas, so you end up sending all these ridiculous, giving you an out messages.
Yeah.
These like qualifying messages of like, just tell, you can tell
Totally
me
understand.
my feelings won't be hurt if you just say that, like, is this
Yeah.
okay? And then you're doing the same to me. And it's like
Yeah.
this weird dance of propriety, as if we're like following, the proper table etiquette while we're sitting for dinner with a sultan. And it's just this, so, okay. Sorry. So keep going. So you went to the show.
So yeah, all that aside, whatever. Pretty funny how that just sort of all went down, and how on paper it's funny. Like the idea that I'm ditching my girlfriend to hang out with your girlfriend. You know what I mean? If for lack, without being able to explain it in how complex it was. So anyway, we go to the show, had a great time. Show was great. I made observations about dressing for a show like that that I think are important things for myself to learn, because my instinct is just to wear things that I wear, and that may be true, but I think that there's value to just like taking what you wear and just dialing it up.
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
For like an occasion like that. Schultz had a great outfit on. Those guys all looked great. Great show, and good for him, dude, for doing radio. See, Bill Gates was at the show.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I mean, it speaks to Andrew
Insane.
and what he's done to have a that much of a world influencing human.
Yeah.
There are few people. He's on the short list for most influential people in the world.
That's crazy.
In history.
Bill Gates. Yeah.
You can count on one hand. I don't know. I mean, a few U.S. presidents maybe are ahead of him, and then
He's
man.
top 10.
There's really
for sure.
not many people that you would put ahead of him, where if you found out that they were at your comedy show,
Yeah.
you would
Right.
think, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
It's wild.
yeah. Could you hand me my bottle of water there, Ryan? Sweetheart. Thank you. So, okay, you went to the show.
Great to see. So this was funny. Okay. I don't know if she told you this, but when we sat down, there was a guy who behind us, like 2 or 3 seats over.
Huh?
And I was like, hey. And she's like, oh, this is like Francis's like pod. Like she immediately has to explain who this guy that she's at the show with is, which is hilarious. And I was like, man, it would be so funny if like halfway through the show, I just put my arm around her. I didn't do that, but
Sort of smell her neck.
yeah, just like this situation where like suddenly, she's like been caught at a thing, like, because there's certain things like people that I know who like, I don't know if they're actually cheating on their wives, but they'll like make jokes about where, if you're going to cheat on your wife, where to go in the city. Like there's places like,
really? What do you mean?
like
Who's doing
it's a
that?
joke, but like it's sort of like this older generation New York type of person would like make a joke like if you're going to go on a date with somebody you don't want people to see you with, you take her to like the South Street Seaport or like shit like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Places, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
So to me, a show like that is like kind of a funny way to like flow under the radar if you're like up to no good. But dude, whatever. We went to the show. It was really great. And then we went and hung out with Ill Dog after.
Nice.
We went and got drinks. And it was fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good Saturday night.
Yeah, and then we went to the after party briefly.
How was that?
Great, say what up, congratulations to people. And it was pretty late, so we just like hung out for like 40 minutes, went home.
Yeah. Wow.
That was it.
Pretty cool, man. Pretty
yeah.
cool.
Dude, then the next day I found a wallet on the sidewalk. And it was actually like a nondescript wallet. It was like a pouch that had like a cat on it. And I was like, oh, wait a second. Stop, grab it, pull. There's like a credit card, a hotel card, and an ID there. I'm like, oh, this is someone's stuff. It was a girl. And I just immediately go on Instagram and Facebook, try to find her. I think I find her. It took a sec. And then I message her. And then I like don't hear anything back. This has happened to me a few times where I like find people's wallets or IDs and like I message them and they just never reply, or they reply like 2 years later. And I'm like, multiple times. If I lost my wallet, I would immediately be checking my messages.
Interesting.
Right?
Well, I lost my wallet when I was doing alternate side parking once, and it had fallen out and off into the street, and a woman found it and immediately started, do you remember this?
Yeah.
Messaging me, but I was so frantically searching for my wallet that I wasn't checking my DMs.
How long did it take for you to see it though?
probably 45 minutes, at which
Okay.
point I'd already left, but I drove back because she had it.
So, dude, I get a message back from this girl 3 days later.
Wow.
Credit card, ID, hotel key. I guess you can get a new hotel key. But like, and then she like came to get it. And it's funny. She showed up with like a big guy, which I think is a funny move. Like she's just in case.
Was it her boyfriend?
Probably. I don't even know. But like just a big man accompanied. He was huge. A big man accompanied her.
How do you mean big?
He was like
Muscular?
6'6".
Was he strong?
He had to have been
How were his muscles?
big.
Sort of like pretty like well symmetrical, like well rounded, or was he a guy who just lifts the upper body?
He was just a big guy. He didn't necessarily look like he'd been lifting a bunch of weights, but he was big.
Okay, I know what you're talking
You know,
about. Yeah,
Athletic or not, he was huge.
yeah.
So, this guy could clearly probably handle most bogeys. were there to be one. 1 o'clock, you got one coming in. So anyway, she shows up and I see the guy, and then she digs into her wallet to like try to get money to give me to like thank me. And I think like seeing the guy made me so want her to see that this was just purely an act of goodwill that I didn't even entertain her digging into the wallet.
Wait a second.
She went to give me a reward. She went to give me a reward.
But you knew what was in the wallet.
Yeah.
Was there money in there?
No.
So why didn't you just say, you said don't even. What
I
did
was
you
like,
say?
no. She started digging, and I was like, no. Seriously, it's all good. And she was like, please, seriously? I was like, no, seriously.
But what's she gonna find? There's nothing in there.
She had a bag, though, and there's money in her bag that she was going to give me.
Oh, she started digging in and not in her wallet that you just handed back.
No.
Ah, I misunderstood.
Sorry. Yeah, she started digging in whatever she had once I exchanged.
She brought money.
She brought money, thinking that maybe I was being opportunistic here. And honestly, if she didn't bring this big guy with her and she insisted, I might have taken a couple shekels. If it looked like she was rolling in it,
I would have taken shekels. Guy or not. In fact, if that guy's there, I'm actually probably more inclined to take the shekels. And that's because I don't want him thinking that I'm doing this to try to cozy up to his lady. Her paying me keeps it totally transactional.
Right. Interesting.
And don't worry, pal. I accept money. I'm a piece of shit. The two of you go have some fun.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It depends. If she rolled up a little, if she like looked super fancy or something, I might have taken it from her. She just seemed really nice.
What
She's Canadian.
does the type of person whose wallet it is affect whether or not you are willing to take money?
Though, like a reward?
Yeah.
For sure, dude.
Right. So who do you not take a reward from?
Her?
I would have said an old person.
Oh.
Older people.
Imagine they start convincing you. They're like, come on, I'm older than you.
Yeah.
I can't take it with me.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You're
Why
making
not
a
write
lot
me
of
into your
sense.
will instead?
So my ex-girlfriend's dad used to say to me, he'd like, if I couldn't hang out with them for some reason, actually there's a reason why. Okay, so I went on a trip with them and the brother lived in the city that we went to, and they didn't want him to know that I was dating her because he was like, thought that it was weird that I was older than her.
Ugh.
Yeah. And like, so they didn't tell him I was there, and then they excluded me out of their day plan when they were going to hang out with him. So the dad felt bad. He rented me a car to tell me to go do stuff.
I think you've told me this before.
And then he's like, here's $100. And I was like, no. He's like, come on, I'm older than you. I was like, all right, that works
enough.
for me.
Fair enough.
Thanks, I'll take it. Anyway, but whatever. So there's definitely the type of person that I would take it from, I guess. I don't know, dude. Like I would have even taken it from her if she had not showed up with a man.
Yeah. Wow.
Which doesn't necessarily make sense.
I know. I would say that if I opened that wallet and it was a wallet that contained change, I would not take it. Because anyone who is putting coins into their wallet at this day and age probably doesn't have a whole lot of cash to spare.
That could be true. Dude, also like, okay, for example, if she were to try to give me $20, if it's a person that I would take money from and they try to give me $20, I just wouldn't take the $20. I'd be like, I'd rather have the good deedage than the $20.
Yeah.
Now, if it were like a check, like the Bill Gates golf caddy story, how much is a year of tuition? fucking cuts him a check for a year of tuition. Did I tell you this?
did that?
Some kid I went to school with caddied for Bill Gates for a weekend of golf at some pro-am. Doesn't tip him. They'll on the 18th green, or like the 18th tee off or whatever the tee. He asked him how much his year of school cost, cut him a check for $45K or whatever.
That is awesome.
How awesome is that, dude?
What a great story.
And the kid's parents were paying for the college, pocketed the cash. Fucking dirtbag move, dude.
I don't
think so?
necessarily know that that's a dirtbag move, because he didn't say
Right.
how much are you
There's no stipulation.
paying for. He said, what's a year? He answered honestly.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. You're right.
You're saying he should have given it to his parents
I
to put towards the
guess
college?
it just depends. If
I
the
could
money,
understand
if the
that.
money meant a lot to the parents,
Yeah.
it didn't seem like it did.
Yeah, I might have said, Mom, Bill Gates gave me $45,000 to put towards my college, for caddying for him. I'm gonna keep 10 of it and put the other 35 towards tuition. Does that sound fair?
Oh, that's nice.
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
My parents would be willing to come up with
think,
like a
yeah.
fair way to do that, I would think.
Yeah. My parents paid for a little bit of my school. And then my dad had a tuition benefit thing too, because he's a professor. So I'm still on the hook for like loans and shit. So I think that I probably could have just put it directly towards that. But I wouldn't have
How
done
much do you owe still into student loans?
that. Good amount.
Can you tell me?
I don't want to say it on the air, but I will tell you.
And let me ask you this. With all the student loan deferrals that were given in COVID,
Those are only for public ones. I have private ones too.
is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could have continued to pay your private ones all these years?
Yeah. Yeah. But I've had, so that I have less of those because I haven't had to pay the public. So I have less of the private,
you've
but
been-
it's still the payment structure hasn't really changed.
All
So
right.
It's the same monthly.
Is there a projected end date based on your current pay schedule when you will have finished paying off your student loans completely?
Yeah. It's not for a while. I'm in a forgiveness program on the public ones too. So like, and then there's all these new things. I'm going to try to like figure out a way to not pay the public ones. I'm on the hook for the private ones no matter what. But there's a projection and it's not anytime soon.
Does this sit over you?
No. Not
It
at all.
doesn't have any sort of cloud or weight on you that you have to pay this constantly?
No, and to be honest, like any money that I have saved is performing at a much higher rate than whatever the interest rate is that I'm paying on these loans. So like if I were to just pay them off to get it, like I don't feel the burden on my shoulders. I'd rather maintain sort of like this balance. And I'm sure somebody's going to tell me I'm an idiot. And yes, it sucks to like be paying interest, but like I don't want to pay them off because it's just too much money.
Is it auto deducted?
I do it manually.
You have to do it, and every month?
I do it manually every month. Yeah.
Once a month?
Yeah.
So it's like paying a cell phone bill.
Yeah. And honestly, I think it's a varying rate. So hopefully whatever, any like interest rate stuff doesn't affect it too badly. I don't know how that all works, but it's really not that burdensome.
Does it affect your credit score?
No.
Forgive me for asking so many questions.
No, it's
I
okay.
realize that I'm very naive about this, which probably speaks of privilege. I am privileged in that I had my parents were able to pay the entirety of my tuition. So I walked out of college with no student debt.
And I am too. My parents made a very big dent in mine. And I'm grateful.
Yeah.
You know?
So I am, I'm just curious about student loans and the sort of how much that can affect someone's decisions or their financial situation.
It fucked me a little. So I just like didn't. I was sort of, and it's amazing when you sign up for these fucking loans. You don't know shit, dude. I didn't know anything. I could
Right.
barely tie my shoes. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, you can pay them your whole life. I'm like, okay, sick. Like, what that meant to me is like I can pay $10 a month. You know what I mean? I didn't realize all of a sudden I'm out of college and now you got to pay those. And I was like, oh, I don't want to pay that. How can I do that? Oh, you can forbear them. Okay, fuck, I'll do that.
What does that mean?
That means you still accrue interest. So, but the balance on my public loans, like 50% higher than what I owed when I got out of college because I just never wanted to pay them.
You owe more now than you did?
Significantly. more. Only on the public ones, not the private.
Because you deferred on your loan payments?
I
which raised...
forbeared them.
What does that mean?
It means that they still accrue interest even though you don't owe any money.
Forebearers to me are people that, like, the four people came before you.
It just, no, it means that you don't have to pay, but interest will continue to accrue, which I just let happen for many years until I decided to adult. And then was like, okay, I need to get my finances in order.
Can you not default on your student loans?
No, you can't.
Why not?
They'll ruin your life. Supposedly. I mean, maybe not. I'm just not willing to take the risk. I'm in a program where they will disappear after X amount of years. I'm nowhere near that term ending, but they came out with all these new rules and laws too about it. So like, I'm gonna see if I have any.
Dude, when I was working at the district attorney's office in New York as a paralegal, there was a guy who came in one day who had been arrested because he was a hot dog vendor and would park his hot dog stand in Lower Manhattan or whatever, and you have to have a license or a permit for this to run one of those things, but he couldn't afford those payments, and so he was just doing it, and he kept accruing tickets. He'd get hit with fines, and a lot of them do. And he had collected so many fines that he owed the city, I think it was something like $897,000.
Oh my God.
And I remember this guy talking to, the guy, the head of the bureau, the trial bureau, who was like questioning him and seeing if, can we work out a deal with his like defense attorney, and we're the prosecutors. And he was like, you haven't been paying any of your license fees, and what's the matter with you? And the guy was like, I owe $890,000. Like, what do you mean? What I make fucking
$80
a day. Who could pay that?
Yeah.
And it really put everyone in their place.
Yeah.
It really put us as the prosecutors in our place of like, yeah, this is just one of those bureaucratic laws that is so far from the reality.
Yeah.
That like we have to be sympathetic to it, to this guy. And I don't remember what they came up with, but student loans, man, I know that they can be crippling, but I also,
they're not for me.
Right.
They're not. It sucks. Like, it sucks to know that, like, based on some of the things that I'm repaying, I could do so much more with my life with it, but like, it's fine.
But I always wonder too, don't you long for that feeling of being free and clear of them?
Of course.
The day when it's just,
of course,
poof,
of course,
gone.
Of course. But I just don't like. I don't know what my options are. Like, if I just don't pay them, like, I could maybe get away with that, but it would just ruin my credit.
I think to me, it's again a very naive and privileged position I'm coming from with this question. I'm aware of that, but the question is, why don't you just pay them all off?
Yeah, no.
Poof, gone. Clear your name.
Okay, so there's many different ones, right? So the public ones, I think there's like, I have like a dozen, not a dozen, like 4 or 5, right? They're all different amounts, maybe even more than that. And those, though, I may never end up having to pay them. I probably will, but maybe not the full balance. So I'm that interests me much more than not having to think about it by paying it all. I enjoy fucking putting the gloves up and doing the bullshit reach around moves that no one else is willing to do so that I don't end up having to pay. I will do that. I will spend time doing it. Hillary always says this about me. Like, I will spend hours trying to not get got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that. Then there's the private ones, which again, the balances have been paid down significantly, to the point where they're just like not that burdensome. However, there are still separate ones, and I've considered maybe just completely getting rid of one. But even then, I'm kind of just like, I don't know, dude. Like,
but it's like, all right, yeah. Again, all right, we got to move on because nobody wants to.
No, this is good. This is good.
All right, but my question is, like, you sold that NFT, pay off.
I'd rather just put it all on Amazon, dude. That's split coming up, dude.
I don't know.
No, I'm serious. Like
that's why I'm not making money.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'd rather try to fucking make a bunch of money. Like if based on, and granted, you know, famous last words, you know, it'll all go to shit. And what happened with Netflix the other day happened to that at Amazon, and then whatever, you know what I mean? These are risks we take, and hopefully you net out up, you know, but like, I still like to think that the performance of any of that kind of stuff will just will totally outperform.
Render your student loans irrelevant.
Not even
almost.
just like earning more money than I'm losing by paying the student loans off and
I
paying
see.
interest.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the
yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
and I don't know how sound that theory is. I pulled it completely out of my ass, and I'm sure people are going to message me with thoughts on it, and I welcome them, and I appreciate your advice. I did get an NFT stolen out of my wallet, though. Fished. That's the karmic reversion to the mean. It could happen to you. You know, I didn't have the full security thing in place the way that people say that you should. And I was just like, oh, I'm just not going to click any suspicious stuff. And apparently I must have, because I woke up one morning and one of the things that I bought had just been transferred out of my wallet. And it's crazy because you can see where it went. You can watch the history of what's happened since it was robbed from you. And you open a support ticket with the site. No one, like, I haven't gotten a response, probably never will. And I even talked to somebody who works there, and they're like, yeah, sorry, dude, there's nothing we can do. I'm like, what kind of hustle is this? This is so stupid. I can just have it completely taken. It makes you not want things to go up, because then you're just scared that that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, this is the wild west
Yeah.
of cryptocurrency and NFT shit.
Yeah. It's
And-
$500, which is brutal.
I mean, there's
Cost of doing
a
business.
student loan probably.
But I mean, no.
One of your accounts.
Paid off?
I don't know.
Not even close. Yeah. Not even close. But okay, I'll tell you right now how much I owe. Make sure we don't include this. I'll write it down just in case.
Oh, look at this. This is going to be one of those coy moments that the listeners are upset that we haven't told them. That's what you owe right now?
Yeah.
See, that would make it hard for me to not think about that.
So it's just not that much. It's like not that, like, the reality of my month, it doesn't change my lifestyle at all. I don't have to make sacrifices to pay it. And a large percentage of that is the public ones.
Is this going up though, based on the interest rates?
No. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if the payment will. And if they do, that will change the way that I approach them.
Yeah.
Right now, the rates are very competitive, and I don't understand how they move, but I do see every month what I'm paying, and I try to be on top of it.
Man,
it's
crazy.
shitty. But
I get upset when our electric bill is, goes up 20%.
Yeah. I mean, I do too.
I'm turning off our lights left and right. They say this is something that happens to men. The dads are always turning lights off, turning the air conditioning off.
Turn off the air conditioner.
Yeah, yeah.
Dad,
And
Dad, it's
I
hot.
feel that. I feel that. I don't know what it is.
Very dadly.
We have this. Sierra installed a motion detecting light in one of our closets, and I am reluctant to take coats out of that closet because I know the light will go on, and I know that when I close the closet door, it will remain on for a certain amount of time. And why would we have a light on in a closet when no one needs to see what's going on in there?
Dude, my dad will leave our house freezing unless somebody objects because the oil, I think we have oil heat. I don't even know. We may have changed that. But like, I'll be wearing a winter coat and like not necessarily protesting. And then my mom will notice and be like, are you serious? And he's like, all right.
Yeah.
Throws the heat on.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, there are people, people who get out of whatever law school and they don't become lawyers or whatever. And now these are people with like deep into 6-figure sums of student loans. And granted, being a lawyer, in theory, you pay it off, or like medical school, whatever. But like, I'm just grateful I'm not one of those people because that must fucking ruin your life, dude.
Right.
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 So who knows, dude? But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, losing $500, I'm to make myself be able to sleep at night about it because it's so violating. Oh, this is the best part. The thing has gone up by 5 times what I bought it for. So today is worth $2,500.
Now we're talking
Which
about
makes
student loans.
Which makes it hurt even more. But I'm just trying to be like cost of doing business, but also do fuck NFTs.
Yeah, that's right.
Fuck that shit.
That is right. Fuck NFTs. Yeah.
Fuck NFTs.
Yeah.
But whatever.
All right.
So, dude, you know those, like a game like Cards Against Humanity?
Yeah.
Or like, what's the one on the phone? That's a really funny game. Heads Up? No, I was playing with Chris when we were in Denver. I'd never played this game. But it's like a game where like everybody has to answer what they think the funniest thing will be based on the words they have. And then it's some game like that. Is there a way to look this up? Are you trying, Ryan?
Yeah, can you describe it again?
Yeah, so it's like there'll be a word. It's like a word association game. So it'll be like, or not even, it'll be like the worst time of day. And then with the words that you have, you need to like choose
Snake oil.
It's something.
That's what you've played that
it's
with
something,
us.
It's similar, but Snake Oil is like you're pitching a business. That's a great game too.
Yeah.
But it ties in perfectly to Snake Oil. You introduced us to that. We love that game.
Yeah.
So essentially, but I get really anxious playing games like that because I feel bad when the person who thinks their answer was so good finds out that it wasn't.
Yeah.
And like you can see them be disappointed, and I struggle dealing with that over and over and over again for like an hour and a half.
I don't like those games because as a comedian, everyone just assumes I'm going to have the best one, but I don't even know what the best one means. Is it the funniest or is it the most real?
Right. Or what they think is the funniest, whoever the judge is in that round.
There's too much pressure for me on those. I don't like those games either.
It's stressful. And then someone will be like, nah, that's not it. We'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know. But dude, like, there's always the person who goes, oh, you didn't like Penis Charmer? Oh, I thought you were going to love. You know, oh, I thought you were going to love Penis Charmer. And I'm like, oh man, this is so stressful. Right?
Oh, I wish I didn't know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude, it adds this element of pressure that like I just do not like at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
hear you
I
on
don't know,
that.
whatever. I wrote that down.
That's
and
good.
Okay. Dude, insane. Should we do an email?
Yes.
Okay. So
Let's do it.
hey guys, so right now, if you're listening to this episode with Mommy and Daddy, we just want you to know that we're about to talk about Santa, and you might want to leave the room.
Yes, because Santa doesn't deliver to children who are aware of his delivery schedule.
Yeah, he doesn't like when kids know that.
Once the cat is out of the bag, so to speak, he doesn't like you anymore.
And you don't want to be on Santa's naughty list because Santa is very vindictive,
you're
and he
sure.
won't take you off of it.
He is a vindictive and crotchety old man.
He's like a rapper. He remembers everything.
Yeah.
If you look at him weird, just hope you don't stare him down when you're sneaking downstairs on Christmas Eve, hoping to catch a glimpse of Santa. If he catches a glimpse of you, you're toast, pal.
Yeah, it's like that movie, The Birdhouse.
What's that movie?
You know, where if you see it, you kill yourself.
Oh, it's not the bird.
Bird box.
The old birdhouse.
Santa is the bird box phenomenon. If you look at him, you'll die.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
the point is, parents, if you have children listening right now, and this is a bit about Santa, we strongly advise you to tell them to leave.
Okay, this one's called Parents Lying, quote, for your own good. Hey guys, I would love to know if you've been in a similar situation where your parents lied to you for your own good. A few years ago, I was in high school. My car got entangled in the middle of a police chase. Don't really remember the exact details as I was not driving it. But long story short, it was brought to the police station. In my car, I had weed and acid tablets from a previous night. A few days later, my dad calls me very angrily and tells me that he got a call from the police saying they found the drugs and that I'm being charged with possession. Months go by, and my dad is saying that he's talking to the lawyers to try to get these charges dropped, and he's telling me how this is going to affect my future into college or anything in the future. Needless to say, I was crying every night and so confused how I even ended up in this situation. My dad eventually told me that the lawyers were able to have the charges dropped. But if I get caught with any type of drugs in the next 5 years, I'll have a more severe sentence, assuming jail time. So for the next 5 years, I did not go near drugs or do any drugs, except smoke weed rarely. She goes, I live in Florida, by the way. I'm not sure why that matters. But once the 5 years were up, my dad told me that he made up the entire story. That he found the drugs in the car when the police asked him to come empty the car before it was sent to the police station. And he thought it was a good way to teach me a lesson.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Didn't know how to react when he told me that. I was shocked and confused, but also, what the fuck, Dad?
Yeah.
Would love to hear your thoughts
Well, ooh.
on anything similar. Nothing similar to that has happened to me for sure, but I do have thoughts.
That's a pretty severe game.
Yeah, dude.
You know, I wonder if there's a better way to achieve the same goal.
It's also a dangerous game. Like the consequences come out of that. Out of your reality for 5 years being that can just change the trajectory of your life. Maybe in a really bad way.
And you lose trust in your dad when you find out that he mind fucked you for half a decade.
Right. It's kind of fucked up, dude. Because then, like, what if she just became like insanely religious because of it or something? And now I don't know. You know what I mean? Like for the dad, you run the risk there too. Like you maybe make your kid into something different, right? It's like the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
And like you got to be careful. Like what if she like left the country or something? Like who knows what could happen out of that? But it's really risky.
Well, I don't know that. You know, look, I tend to think that getting her to be afraid of drugs, you know, if it were booze, I would agree for some reason.
About what? With doing that?
Yeah, like instilling such a fear in your daughter for 5 years that she shouldn't do acid is not, to me, going to lead to negative consequences very often. But
yeah, but like you can crush someone's self-esteem. They'll like think that they're a fucking worthless loser who's now is in the system and there's no hope. Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
I
like,
think my guess is that he framed it to her. It was like nothing bad will happen if you just have to be careful the next 5 years.
I mean, but dude, you can't argue with the results.
Yeah.
What a fucking move.
What a move.
And in no other situation does the outcome her abstaining from doing everything.
Right. Exactly.
The ends justify the means, brother. I don't know. I still don't agree, but I mean, savage and effective move by a fucking Machiavellian.
Yeah, that's a wily dad. And I almost picture him telling her while he's like on his lazy boy eating popcorn. And he's like, oh, that? Yeah, I made all that up. And she's like, what? He's like, I can't believe you fell for that shit. Yeah. Kept you clean, though, didn't I? Huh?
Yeah, seriously.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and you know, who knows? Maybe she was headed down a bad path or something. You know, having a bunch of acid in your car in high school is potentially not the best thing.
Is not a good thing.
It's not great.
That's not a good thing. That is a wily intervention.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
Very cunning strategy from the father.
I'm trying to think if my parents ever did any shit like that to me. I don't think so. Ryan, what do you got?
So my dad did something like that to me. I was in 3rd grade on the family computer in the office, and I was typing in naked women.
Oh, Jesus.
And boobs. And I was curious, and I got my first glimpse of what it was all about. And so I thought I deleted the history when I got up to go leave. I was in 3rd grade too, so this was before I was even like horny or whatever. And my dad finds out, and then he like corners me yelling at me. I pee myself, and he tells me, he's like, if the police ever found out that you were on that website, me and your mother would be going to jail for a long time. And so I pissed all over my khakis. And then
that's insane.
And so then I was terrified, and then I was taking a shower, cleaning myself, and my mom sat on the toilet, on top of the toilet, and was just asking why I did that. And she was insisting too. She's like, yeah, your father and I could really get in a lot of trouble. And then they both said, you can't tell anybody about that.
Oh my God.
And then on the playground, the beginning of that year, one kid was like, I saw boobs on the internet, and everyone was talking about it, and I didn't say anything. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I was
you didn't say
scared
shit.
No.
Wow, Ryan.
Dude, that's crazy.
Have you ever talked about this with your parents now, like years later?
Yeah, I think I brought it up.
And did you say, what was your message to them?
I think we just laughed about it.
Were they, hey Ryan, listen, we're people too.
No, it wasn't even that bad. We laughed about it.
It wasn't like you guys really scared the shit out of me. You made me piss my. By the way, khakis, 3rd grade. You were wearing khakis in 3rd grade.
Very khakis clean.
And the Ralph Lauren rugby polo. Yeah.
Very nice.
In 3rd grade, bro, I was wearing sweatpants and t-shirts from the Gap, till 6th grade.
My parents wouldn't let me wear sweatpants to school. That's besides the point. It was,
Man, they ran a
everything
tight
was
ship
good.
over there, dude.
Yeah.
Apparently.
And then I got an iPod Touch, and then at that
Oh,
point
yeah.
I realized that I'm in control.
Oh yeah. Well,
Wait.
my thoughts on this though: when you are young enough to believe in Santa Claus, you're allowed to lie to your kids still. That's the only way you can like control them.
Yeah. you could-
Santa's not gonna. You know what I mean? That's like
Yeah.
a very widely
yeah.
told lie.
I wonder if the myth of Santa is dispelled earlier and earlier in life now.
Oh, interesting. How old were you when you found out it wasn't real, and how'd you find out?
Well, I can't say exactly, but I think I definitely believed it almost probably through I want to say definitely through like 2nd grade. And possibly it was like 3rd or 4th grade that I caught wind of it.
Okay.
I don't remember
sounds about right.
exactly,
Yeah.
but I remember it was like people being bullies who were
I'm telling you.
the reason why they were like, it's not real, right? None of
Right,
it's real.
classic.
And
You're like, yeah, I know.
yeah, you're just feeling like an idiot. And then, it's so sad. It's such a sad thing to lose
Your
beliefs in Santa Claus. It's the beginning of the end.
It's beginning of the end.
It's the beginning of the end of being a good person because you don't know any better.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Um,
Dude, my next door neighbor, Ryan, had 2 older siblings, and he's a great guy. I mean, still is a great guy. Now he is, but he would like introduce these ideas to me, and then that's how I would first get like sex. I didn't know what sex was, and he said, "Have you had sex?" We were like, I must have been 7 or 8, dude. I was like, "Yeah, dude." He's like, He goes, "You've had sex?" I was like, "Yeah." And I said with a girl named Andrea. Who I didn't even know an Andrea.
it's funny. I lost my virginity to a girl named
Did you
Andrea.
really?
Yeah.
Dude, nice.
Yeah.
Makes 2 of us, dude.
Yeah.
But dude, so he ran around telling everybody that I had sex, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, I had sex." And then I think Santa too, but Santa I was a little bit more. I pushed back on a little harder, and I remember the specific memory. I asked for this game, World Heroes, for Sega Genesis. It was sort of like a Street Fighter style fight against the other guy game, and the game came in a Funkoland box, which was the store that I would buy used video games at in Wethersfield, Connecticut. And I was like, there's no fucking way Santa shops in Wethersfield. Something's up here. And that was the moment right now. I think I was probably in 4th grade, 10 years old.
It's so sad. Parents go to such lengths to uphold this idea, this fun myth. And it's out of their hands as to whether or not the kid, is told by some older student or whatever. I mean, what kind of a dick do you have to be in 6th grade and 5th grade to tell a 2nd grader Santa's not real?
I mean, dude, those are like the years where people are arguably like the shittiest they will ever be in their entire lives.
But those are the kids who
12
go
to
on to
15.
become, fucking opioid addicts and like
Dude, not necessarily,
horrible
dude.
people. I'm sorry, nothing against opioid addicts. I realize it, but I just think you could trace a line between the kids that tell younger kids Santa's not real and major drug problems down the road in their lives.
Dude, I'm just picturing like a U.S. News chart correlation between Santa bullying and opioid use later in life.
Oh God,
good stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think? Should we bring it home?
Yeah, let's run it out of here.
Oops, the podcast. I am in LA. We'll be at the Fonda Theater tomorrow night, and then have some dates coming up in Seattle and Charlotte a little later in the year, and hopefully some more stuff sooner. Francis, what do you got?
Hell yeah, I'm also in Seattle May 6th to the 8th, very soon, and then I'm in Boston May 19th to the 21st. Laugh Boston, Laugh Seattle. Tickets to those shows, francisells.com, Wisconsin in June. Hope to see you guys.